this concept of a digital twin inside of the go-to-market function, I think, is one of the most powerful opportunities to unlock AI effectiveness, efficiency, speed in the business. AI by itself isn't the moat, but the twin can be the moat that enables safe and secure scalability, enabled by AI.
Welcome back to Demand Decoded. Dan here with you today, joined by Josh again in the studio. Good to have you here. And we're taking a bit of a different route with the episode today, leaning heavily into AI, but not in the typical kind of one-off tools you might use for your business, things you can pick up off the shelf and just implement straight away. We're actually kind of discussing the risk of that, the dangers of heading down that route. AI right now isn't a competitive advantage for the most part for businesses. If you're using ChatGPT or Claude off the shelf, everybody's doing that. In this episode, we're touching on something called digital twins, which is essentially creating a clone of your company's knowledge, giving every AI agent, every human in your business the right consistent and accurate company context to use in any large language model, in any AI workflow, AI agent. And this is such a critical component to think about right now, to start thinking about how your company can adopt this, because if you want to roll out AI across your business and ensure a level of quality and consistency, this is the exact thing that you need to be thinking about right now. Agree?
Well said.
End of episode. So yeah, I mean, we're going to unpack like why and what, right?
Yeah, well, I think we're just going to dig into what the options are, and we'll talk about some challenges with regard to both the if you don't do it, and then if you do build a digital twin, what are the challenges there, and then and a little bit on the technology,
Yeah.
just so that we can all start talking about and understanding how the technology works. Yeah, let's see where the
Yeah.
conversation leads us.
Before we get into the podcast today, here's a quick word from our sponsors, HubSpot. Nobody likes a spoiler, unless it's your customers telling you exactly what they need. But too bad most businesses miss out on these signals. The hints dropped in emails, the messages hidden in call logs and chats, all of it's just trapped in unstructured data. But with HubSpot, you get all of this data in one place. Their customer platform brings together the insights you need to grow your business. And spoiler alert, the more you know, the more you grow. Visit HubSpot.com today to find out more. There's so much pressure right now for businesses to have a strategy for AI. Like, I was at an event last week and we were chatting a lot around the pressures from boards, from managers to figure AI out, to do AI in the business, to adopt something. And yeah, I think if you can start to frame the conversation around digital twins, then it will set you up for longer term success. Should we start with what it is?
Yeah, let's do that. And Dan, the entire business, you're right. CEOs are being pressured daily by their boards to understand what and how, or where and how they can use AI to create better financial outcomes. It's almost a daily conversation I'm having with our existing customers, with prospects. The uh, the the reality of it is that a lot of those conversations are not happening on the go-to-market level. They're happening in the operations of the business, in manufacturing, or in any number of other elements of the business that don't touch marketing, sales, customer success.
Yeah.
But this concept of a digital twin inside of the go-to-market function, I think, is one of the most powerful opportunities to unlock AI effectiveness, efficiency, speed in the business, and do so in a way that is empowering, not risky.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to talk about, and yeah, and um, so a digital twin. The concept of digital twins have been around for a long time,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was gonna. Cybersecurity is like a prime example of
Mhm.
where this term has been adopted widely.
Yep, cybersecurity, supply chain, all kinds of places that where you want to be able to try something that isn't in the real world, right?
Yeah.
But that models your real world environment very, very closely. We're co-opting that term a little bit in this case, because we do intend to create a production worthy system that isn't just trying things in the background.
Mm.
It's literally serving as the company's digital identification platform. That and so when we think about it, in this context, what we're trying to do is we're trying to create two concepts: knowledge of the business, of how it does business, what products and services it has, what decisions it makes, how it, um, how it works with its customers, the tone of voice
Yeah.
that it wants to use, the brand that it wants to portray, like everything about how that company communicates and why it makes the decisions it does.
Mm.
We want to be able to capture in a form of a knowledge base, but then we want to extend that knowledge base. There's nothing new about knowledge bases, right? But historically, usage of knowledge bases has not been great, right? Companies would spend a lot of money pulling
Yeah.
all this together, and then there was no way to force their sales team to, the sales team would still create their own versions of PowerPoint decks and do their own thing,
Yeah.
right? Um,
I know that pain.
yeah, I know you do,
You
right?
spend ages as a marketer, like creating this deck that you're so proud of, and maybe invested like quite a lot of money in as well. And
Right.
sales just basically do whatever they want to do.
So, I mean, there's two sides to that, but we won't. That's not what this
That's for next
episode's all
time.
about. So, okay, so we get that knowledge base, but then to AIify it, we need to make it available to agents in a way that and agents are just AI enabled uh, pieces of code, right? Claude is an agent, Gemini is an agent, but so is a uh, encapsulated workflow that is doing something inside of one of your software platforms, but it's using an AI and effectively an LLM type of capability, and needs not only knowledge but context to be able to make good decisions.
Hmm.
So agents are all dependent upon uh, the effectiveness of those agents are
Yeah.
dependent upon the context that they're able to understand. And so what when we talk about a digital twin, coming all the way back to your first question, we want to create a always available, curated, controlled knowledge base that creates an understanding of who the business is and the context for which uh, that LLM can use that information
Yeah.
to do whatever it's going to go do. Um, Without that, we see lots and lots of use of Gemini and Claude and ChatGPT creating content that might have something to do with the company.
Mm. I think
uh,
inconsistency is the word.
yeah, yeah, inconsistency. And I quick story, uh, a little self-deprecating. When I came to Blend a year ago, almost, I thought, okay, well, I don't want to tax the team in creating proposals for me. I was starting to work with some folks in the U.S. on some opportunities, and I said, okay, I'm going to go create a proposal. Don't laugh. I mean, this is
It's because
I'm
I've
not
read the
supposed
proposals.
to. Oh, that's not nice. Um, so none of this was scripted, by the way. uh, so in doing so, I'm like, okay, well, I'll be a good citizen. I'm going to take couple of proposals that we had online for similar types of projects, and I fed them into our Claude environment that's controlled and secure. And I said, okay, and here's the company that I want to go propose something for, and gave it a nice lengthy prompt to explain what I was trying to do, and it gave me this written proposal that was like 12 pages of pure gold. I thought, man, this is exactly what we need, and
Uh,
and um, and out the door it went. uh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to our team. I know that was. Sometimes I get excited about doing something. I am the sales side of this conversation, right?
yeah.
Um, but shockingly, it turned out that not everything in that proposal
Mhm.
was consistent with the processes we would undertake, with the services we would offer, or even with our own advice, our own positions and opinions on topics, that are, specific
Yeah.
to like detailed marketing process,
Yeah.
ABM process, things like that I thought I was getting from from the content that I gave to the LLM, but it decided, no, I'll go out and I'll research what the rest of the world thinks,
Yeah.
and I'll breathe some of that into it too. And I didn't even know that that I've learned from that, but that happens constantly. I now I work with sales teams in a lot of our customers, and and I see them doing the exact same thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's because that salesperson needs uh, to be able to be responsive to its customer. Often, the customer is asking questions that aren't just 101 questions. They have to go deeper, and people are busy, and so the salesperson doesn't always get the support that they need. Um, in our case, that's not the case. Our team would have loved to support me, and I was a little headstrong. Um, the but in a lot of these cases, it's just a lack of availability of that information, and/or a lack of availability of the people who have that information.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is so valuable about this digital twin, is it allows us to capture the the essence or the intelligence of um, senior people in the organization who are sparingly available. And as that knowledge base grows, we become less dependent upon uh, those individuals to be present, and we enable the people throughout the organization to safely leverage AI to get to the answers that they need to create the content that they need. They can go faster, but with less risk, because the context is limited to what's in that
Yeah.
knowledge base.
Yeah. There's so much to be gained from that, not just from a consistency perspective, but a speed perspective, a compounding impact of retaining that knowledge and
Hmm.
extracting it from people in the business. It's not just a sales thing though. I speak to marketers all the time that
Hmm.
share this challenge as well
Absolutely.
around if you've got a marketing team of 100 people, they're going to be doing different things, different processes, using information in different ways if it's not stored and consistently like distributed across the team. And even, your example is perfect because whilst every single LLM now allows you to create something at a project level or, at a Gemini level,
Hmm.
gems, I think they call them, right? And you can upload knowledge to that, and you can upload sample documentation, sample content. But the proposal example is perfect because those proposals still don't contain the behind the scenes information of what actually
Hmm.
allows you to deliver that piece of work. And that's what was missing in our example. And, that stems from marketing information you would distribute as well. You might have product managers giving you information about products that information is suitable for the market, but it still doesn't explain the process that makes that product work, the implementation that needs to happen behind the scenes. Like there is so
Right.
much knowledge that actually that lacks. It's a great first step. Don't get me wrong. I was chatting to somebody last week who is currently stuck in just Claude default chat windows. And I'm like, they're struggling with tone of voice. I'm like, have you tried Claude projects? Because you can upload your tone of voice documentation to that. Great first step. But okay, what's next?
Yeah, that I was gonna say that only gets you so far. That's
Right?
very
Yeah.
very limited. You're still starting from zero every time you ask it something.
Yeah.
You have limited information in that project, but it's not in the digital twin. You're able to bring in yes, sample files, yes, connections to your CRM, maybe like integration to HubSpot,
Yeah.
so that you have access to the emails, the phone conversation notes, the reasons why decisions were made inside of individual deals and customer relationships and histories, service tickets, all of that kind of stuff can be brought in. Um, the You might have technical product details. You
Yeah.
might have
Like
like
CPQ information, everything.
exactly
Yeah.
all of that rich data. When you just create a cloud project, there's no way you're bringing all of that in to then
Yeah.
shape what you're trying to
And you
do.
have to do it every time
And
you
you have
create a
that's
project.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes. So we believe that digital twins are the way to unlock, to apply to enable companies to use AI, but use it safely
Hmm.
and in a uh, effective, efficient manner.
All right. We've covered off, I suppose, why you need this, why a digital twin can be so powerful for businesses. I suppose it would be good to touch on how this thing works. Like,
Sure.
how do you actually set this up, and make it, available to your business?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so anytime we talk about technology, I'm tempted to remind you that I was a software engineer in my former life, but that was like decades ago. So I enjoy getting into the tech, but if there's software engineers listening to this, you're going to laugh a little bit. So just bear with me. Um, okay, so when we think about digital twins in this context, it's primarily two pieces of software. It's a knowledge base, which you can capture in a variety of different ways.
Hmm.
And then it's an MCP server that's connected to that knowledge base. An MCP server is a relatively new piece of technology. It's model context protocol. It's how LLMs.
Yeah.
It's what enables LLMs to query into a third-party data
Hmm.
source and have and without explicit one-to-one API data mapping.
Yeah.
Um, However, that MCP still has to understand that MCP server that we build still has to be able to talk to that knowledge base. And so we think of it at Blend as almost a single piece. It's truly two things, but as a single piece of software, a single solution that we've developed for us,
Yeah.
and we should talk a little bit about how we're using our own digital twin, which we've got to come up with a fun name for. But I want to call it Phil. But the but then how others can think about, how our audience can think about putting this together too. So when we think about the MCP is a well understood protocol now. It's evolving, right? We're still early days in all of this, but you can read about it. There's lots of third party applications that are creating their own MCP server to
Yeah.
allow
Yeah.
LLMs to engage with them. HubSpot has one,
Yeah.
for
They
example,
do.
and we use that to be able uh, to bring HubSpot data into our own digital twin. But our uh, the way we expose that digital twin to our agents, and we'll talk about what we use for agents also, is we create our own unique MCP interface that is specific to our knowledge base. Now, in our knowledge base, we've got uh, our own brand information, our own tone of voice
Yeah.
information, but and a lot of content that we've already created, that we have human curated, to make sure that it is what we want to articulate, how we want to articulate it. We've also filled the knowledge base with every single transcript of this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So all of
Yeah.
the expertise that you and Phil and the jokes that I've provided um, have, have been captured and brought into that knowledge base. We've got, as I said, we've got HubSpot. So we've got within our own HubSpot environment, we capture every client email, every summaries of every client call, notes and action items and decisions that were made. So we get this rich contextual history of how we work with clients.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what else is in there.
Product line items.
Yes. So there's product definitions, pricing calculators, and all of this everything where you'd say, hey, we want some guardrails around what an LLM might create.
Yeah.
So we built all of that into a knowledge base, and we curate it for ourselves. Now, for our customers, what we're doing now is we're on the cusp of offering that as a service to our customers, bringing the technology and the human curation of content to enable digital twins for our customers, which then allows them to create AI-based workflows and use all kinds of different AI-based tools to, but preserves and limits what context and what information those agents have access to, so that the results are actually right.
Yeah.
Right? They're accurate. They're within the there's no hallucinations, if you will. But that's really all it is in terms of how it's built. It's an MCP server with a knowledge base that connects to that MCP server. The knowledge base can be a number of different applications. There's some that are commercial. We've built our own model with a platform called Laravel, and so we have our Laravel knowledge base that does have an interface so that our human beings can literally curate the content that goes into it, and then we've got the MCP server that is basically your entry point, your door
Yeah.
into that.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to interrupt the show to bring you another podcast on HubSpot's podcast network called Marketing School. If you need practical marketing strategies that actually work, Marketing School from the HubSpot podcast network is essential listening. Hosts, as you'll know, Neil Patel and Eric Sue, give you daily 10 to 15 minute episodes packed with actionable tactics from their own marketing experience, building and scaling multiple companies. In their recent episode on AI marketing, they explain why your customers can switch AI tools faster than you think, and how that changes the way you need to position and market your own products. Not your typical episode you'd expect, but packed with insights and unexpected learnings that you can take into your own business. There's daily insights, real results. Listen to Marketing School wherever you get your podcasts. If you're listening to this right now, you're probably doing what every other B2B marketer is doing, asking, how do I get my brand cited in ChatGPT? How do I show up in Gemini, Perplexity, Claude? And at Blend, we help you do exactly that. We engineer visibility in AI search for B2B companies. We build the content, implement the technical optimization, and track your performance across every major AI platform. So when buyers are researching solutions like yours, your brand gets recommended. We know how to engineer visibility in AI search because we built a framework and proved it on ourselves first. And this took months of experimentation, but in the end it delivered 470 high-value prompt appearances, 80% citation rate across prompts, and 250% more AI-sourced leads. We proved the framework, and now we're starting to roll it out across customers who are seeing similar results. So, if you want to dominate AI search in your category, visit blendb2b.com to learn more about our AI search services. How would you compare it to like a a API configuration that would speak between, typically your knowledge base and a endpoint like a CRM.
So traditionally, API integrations are data point to data point mapping.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to really understand how that data is going to be used in the calling application, and you have to understand what it means um, in the host information or host database. And so it's field to field. It's understanding what those relationships are, and then stitching it all together. Right. Um, the the wonderful part about this is that you no longer have to do that. Once I have an MCP server set up and it's connected to my backend knowledge base, I can use any agent. I can use Gemini, I can use ChatGPT, I can point uh, Microsoft Office's interface to it. I can do all kinds of different. I always forget the name of
Copilot.
that. Copilot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of shows you how often I use Copilot. But I can create those entry points if I have a customer success platform that that has an AI component to it. I should be able to connect that to my, think about um, like on your website, a little digital agent on your website that says, that annoyingly pops up every 5 seconds when they're badly implemented. Uh, but think about that thing. Hi, I'm Steve. Can I
Yeah.
help you? But now it has access to all this rich information and can use an AI element to be able to in query and in real time surface that
Yeah.
information for your customers.
I mean,
Yeah. It makes those things actually usable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have one, right? It doesn't use our MCP yet,
Yet.
but it uses HubSpot's. Well, I don't actually know the ins and outs, but essentially uses HubSpot's content. So it's called Customer Agent on HubSpot. If you have HubSpot, like you might as well just go and use it because you have credits. Might as well use them up with something useful, which this is. You can select all of your content from your website. You can upload custom knowledge to it. You can select, your products in the CRM, anything really that you have access to in HubSpot. You can check so that the customer agent uses that. And yeah, even in that instance where it's not pulling in all of our internal knowledge because it's more customer facing information, it still actually makes it useful. We're not trying to create one of these super annoying chat flows that will lead you down to something. When you ask a question, it will give you the information and the source of where it got that information from.
Right.
And, I know from using Blend MCP now via Claude, and your point around MCP plus knowledge base is perfect because it allows you just having those two things. It doesn't matter what you want to use to actually extract that information, whether you want to use Claude, whether you want to combine it with a piece of software that's going to run, agentic workflows for you. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Once you have those two things in place, you can go wild with AI systems, but maintain consistency, maintain a level of a level of like knowledge that your information is going to be safe and used in the right way.
Yeah, it reduces risk.
Yeah.
So for the CEO that says, "Hey, we've got to, I want our small marketing team creating hundreds of pieces of content, not 3." This is the way to do that without becoming, creating a lot of risk in what you're saying publicly.
Yeah.
And we see it working because it's working for us.
Yeah.
And so the CEOs that are struggling with how do I tell my board how we're using AI in our go-to-market? You have two sides of that. That board is wanting to see that you're aggressively pursuing how to create speed in your go-to-market. But
Yeah.
there's also a risk side to that, and your board is going to also have a risk. There's going to be at least one person on your board that is going to be the risk guy or gal, and they're going to be asking, how are you preventing very questionable information from getting out?
Yeah.
How is the content that you're creating being reviewed? And it's very difficult to human review 100 different pieces of content. But if I've got a digital twin that is well curated, and I've got an agent that whose only context is, now it depends on you got to write your prompts right too. But if I create prompting and agentic workflows that are using that digital twin only as their context and their
Hmm.
source, then by definition, I'm removing a tremendous amount of risk, and the risk of hallucinations or
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
elements. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think there's still an opportunity to introduce quality control agents into those agentic
Mm.
workflows, right? The best platforms aren't just creating and then publishing; they're creating, testing, and publishing. But then those quality assurance agents should also be connecting to the MCP to make sure they understand the rules
Yeah.
and to run safety cop over whatever is created. But when you do that, we start to create like real sizable content scalability,
Mm.
uh, where you don't have to have an army of writers. You have to have a couple of writers making sure that they're curating the content that goes in well.
This is a really interesting point, actually. It's the curation of the content, because what you haven't said is that we're going to let AI systems write back to our
Correct.
knowledge.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a one-way
It has to be. Yeah,
system.
yeah, yeah. That we're at least for now, and for the foreseeable future, that's going to be in super important. There are places where it's okay to allow AI to write back to the source platform. The digital twin is not that, because you can see, like, it makes one little mistake, that gets sent into the and becomes gospel
Yeah.
in the MCP or in the digital twin, and then that little bit starts to grow,
Hmm.
and eventually if this is your line of truth, you're diverging quite rapidly, as those little errors become big errors,
Yeah.
become
Yeah.
a totally separate truth that isn't actually truth. So that's super important. And so when we are creating this for ourselves, when we're now creating them for customers, uh, that the service we're providing a service around curation, right? So our writers, our designers, our strategists are applying time and effort to. I think of SharePoint.
Mm.
Um, People can say, "Well, I've got a knowledge base; it's all in SharePoint." And if you go to any company of any size and you look at their SharePoint,
Oh yeah.
it's a
It's a
disaster, right?
mess.
And you can never find anything useful. Um, Maybe that's not entirely true, but that's a
It's hard to
big
find
statement. But
something
it,
useful.
but it,
Yeah.
it is very quickly a garbage heap of all kinds of content.
Yeah.
That's not this. What we need is a process. What this requires is a process to be able to um, identify useful information, curate it once, get it into the system, and then maintain that over time. And that can be highly efficient. Um, and as long as you're then applying that digital twin, I remember, it's the same uh, sales presentation question, right? You
Mm.
might have your master sales presentation in SharePoint. You want your sales team to go and get it every single time that they have a sales presentation, and so that when you update it, you know, it's updated, and
Yeah.
your sales team's always using the right one. Does that ever happen?
Nope.
Never, because
They use their own.
on the desktop
Yep.
is their favorite version from 3 years ago, and and it's a real fight in every company. But what if instead of SharePoint, we took that master branding, that master slide deck template, that master sales presentation, and then the sales presentations of all the deals that you won in the last 12 months, so that you can see what kind of communication is leading to effective
The best ones, yeah.
sales presentations. And then we enabled that in the digital twin so that um, your agentic workflow is actually creating a new sales presentation bespoke to that client in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And now that sales rep has a very customized, very bespoke, but also safe and informed by your digital twin, not just doing whatever they decide to do.
Yeah.
That's where this is the kind of thing that unlocks. And it, you think about it for a sales rep, it's faster, it's more accurate, it's, and it's on brand and it looks great. And it's, you don't have sales reps creating square boxes with bright flashing red lights.
Well, and hopefully it improves conversion rate because it's trained on the best ones that
Right.
converted best and landed best.
That's right. Yeah. And so, I think that's the win-win for both the sales team and the marketing team, is that, hey, if we build this, we can create a way to make everybody's lives go faster. We can create tremendous content, and we can really know and measure what's driving success as it scales, because we're staying in the zone of where we need to of where the company is comfortable.
Yes. What are we trying to measure though? Like, when the board says, okay, digital twin sounds interesting. You can, okay, blends sound cool. Go and use them for it.
That would be a smart board.
They're going to ask, so what does this mean, like, for us? What is the efficiency gain here? What metrics is this going to improve for us as a business?
Yeah. I think at a macro level, this process and enabling AI in your go-to-market should increase pipeline. It should, all of those things you already measure are going to stay the same, are going to be the same things you measure. Customer acquisition costs, pipeline at any stage, new pipeline created, new, from a marketing standpoint, new content. I don't even know that you care so much that we're creating 100 pieces of content for our AEO program. What matters is whether that converts into
Exactly.
into high intent leads.
And if that converts into pipeline.
Right.
And if that converts into closed won pipeline.
Right. But on the customer success side, you can also enable, like, now my customer success teams can have higher first call close rates.
Yeah.
We can measure customer satisfaction rates changing. We can like the amount of workflows and processes inside that company that get enabled by this in a positive way, and again, while reducing or avoiding the risk of people just using Gemini to do whatever they want to do. Guilty.
It's all right. We're over it, Josh. It's fine.
Our team watches these too. I just want them to know I've learned my lesson. That really does. Like, I can demonstrate. I can deliver higher, like at a macro level, I can deliver greater revenue growth, more predictable revenue growth, while reducing my overall cost to serve. And because in most mid-market companies, they never have enough marketing people, they never have enough salespeople, enough customer success people to be able to do everything they want to do,
Yeah.
right? It's just business. This unlocks scalability of the overall business. And it really does. Like we're seeing it ourselves.
Yeah.
It's tremendous. It's what, as a CRO, there were always problems that that you just couldn't solve. You could band-aid, you could try to fix them, or you could try to improve them, but you could never actually create the scale and the speed that you really wanted to, certainly not without taking really, really big risks in the business. And this is especially true in PE-owned organizations that have real limits in terms of EBITDA that has to get created,
Yeah.
and like those that has to happen, and so you can only spend up to so much, and so yeah, this unlocks that in a major way. I really wish I had been an operator, like wish this came along 20 years ago. Because when I was coming up, like you, my friend, the things that I could have done, right, the outcomes I could have created using this, and right now, I think my primary message to CEOs, to boards that we talk to, is that if you jump in on this, you are going to be ahead
Yeah.
of almost all of your competitors, because what you said at the beginning is absolutely true. The average company right now is barely scratching the surface of AI and is struggling with, especially in mid-market, because they don't have big IT organizations where they
A
have
dedicated team.
entire teams
Yeah.
that are focused on this, and those organizations have their own challenges, right? Because um, when you have big infrastructure, IT infrastructure, you also have big IT oversight.
Yeah.
Um,
It's an adoption issue as
Information
well. Yeah.
security becomes a information security process, not the need for it. Everybody has the need for it, but the process of it can sometimes insert significant delays in adoption of
Yeah.
new technology, right? And for good reasons, I'm not here to bash InfoSec, but in the mid market, you have the ability to create more agility because you can make decisions faster. And if you make decisions to adopt a digital twin strategy, you can go from, let's say you've got a small team of 5 marketers and 10 salespeople. You can operate like you have 50 marketers and 50 salespeople. And I swear, like it's amazing. You can tell I'm a little passionate. I'm really sold. But it's exciting.
All right. There was a lot in there. I think this is likely the first time people are perhaps starting to think about digital twins and how they can be used in their business. And I think, there's a lot to think about here for a lot of people. We're pretty much at time. Final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I would say we just scratched the surface. So and intentionally, we're not trying to go too deep
Yeah.
in this episode. Our audience can expect that we're going to continue to go deeper and deeper in this space, and in the general discussion of how you can practically enable AI in your go-to-market. We're all in, and we're going, and so you're going to start to hear more and more of that from Dan, from Phil, from me, and others in our organization. If you're a CEO who is hearing from their board that, hey, we need a real clear response, we need to be aggressive in this area, or more likely, you're a marketer who's being told by their CMO, who's being told by their CEO, who's being told by their board that this is important, and there's a need to do something, but not sure what exactly that is. I think the digital twin strategy is one that you can latch onto, because it's not AI by itself isn't the moat. but the twin can be the moat that enables safe and secure scalability, enabled by AI. That only happens if governance is built in at its foundation.
Yeah.
There's got to be, there's got to be human curation. You can't, it has to be read only. You can't allow
Yeah.
systems, AI agents to write back to that. And if you do, like, you're just asking for trouble if you do. It has to be versioned and auditable so that, if something does get in there that you're like, we're now starting to see responses that we don't care for, we can go back and we can change that. Those are the types of things that you're building into this, and you're building into it, in a way that is scoped by function. So it's designed intentionally with, here's how we talk to customers, here's how we talk to prospects, here's how we talk to the general market. Here are problems that we answer or solve for customers.
Yeah.
Here are ways that we sell to prospects and pricing and all that kind of stuff. Here's the technical specs that help us answer customer support questions, also help us create battle cards and assets that the sales team can use. Those kinds of, that kind of design from the beginning is what what the job is. And then just having a continuous process of curation is how you maintain that and keep it going. And, as always, if you're looking for someone to help you with that, we would love to help.
Yeah. Conversation is like, I'd love to show people our Blend knowledge base MCP, and yeah, it's really cool how you see it firing off and actually gathering the information. It's like, oh wow, now it's searching that knowledge base and looking at that.
Well, maybe we do that as another.
Yeah, that's a good shout, actually.
Another episode.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
All right, let's do that. Cool. Okay. Let's wrap it up there, shall we? Amazing. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Demand Decoded. We'll catch you next time. Bye, everyone. Before you go, if all you can think about right now is AI search and how buyers are using it to find products in your category, we should talk. At Blend, we've built a proven framework for answer engine optimization. We tested it on ourselves first and saw 470 high-value prompt appearances, 80% citation rate, and a whopping 250% increase in AI source leads. That's real high-intent leads who are finding us through AI search. We've since rolled it out to dozens of clients who are now seeing similar results. Our AI service engineers your visibility in ChatGPT, Perplexity, AI mode, Gemini through structured content, schema markup, and continuous optimization, and measurement through our partner Scrunch. If you want to show up when your buyers are asking AI tools for recommendations in your category, find out more about our AEO services at blendb2b.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.